$24,000 a year, I should have additional perks, but I don't believe that I should have any more perks than the average citizen out there.
And welcome back to Square Off and the bills we were watching at the Capitol this past week. You heard Republican State Representative Quang Nguyen responding to Arizonans' outrage by state lawmakers claiming legislative immunity to avoid speeding tickets. The Prescott Republican wants voters to decide at the ballot box in 2026 whether to end that privilege. Now, the first hearing on the ballot measure revealed that some lawmakers want even more protection from the law.
First of all, I want to make a declaration that I'm actually not going after anybody.
Republican Committee Chair Quang Nguyen was in a tough spot. He moved a bill that could yank his fellow lawmakers' immunity from traffic tickets.
You have a camera there, you have the press here. We don't need the negative attention to be driven to the institution that I love so much.
Some of Nguyen's Republican colleagues don't think they have enough protection from law enforcement.
This is the time to be strengthening legislative immunity so that we can act independently.
Republican Alexander Colladin of Scottsdale suggested, without evidence, that some lawmakers are being persecuted.
The executive branch continues to use its ability to enforce the law as a weapon against legislators that it doesn't care for.
High-profile traffic stops involving Republicans prompted this legislation to limit a decades-old law. In January, a DPS trooper clocked Senator Jake Hoffman at 89 miles per hour in a 65 zone on a Mesa highway. Hoffman won't be ticketed. Also in January, Senator Mark Fincham was stopped in Prescott after driving 48 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone.
I'll take it up with Legislative Council.
Fincham invoked his right to legislative immunity. And in March of last year, then Senator Justine Watsack was caught going 71 miles per hour in a 35 zone in Tucson.
I'm racing to get home because I have 4 miles left on my charger.
The committee voted 6-3 to advance the bill to the full House.
This immunity is not so that we can be speeding when we're not doing our jobs.
And the bill still requires a vote of the full House and the full Senate to go to the ballot. Also, while we were watching, Governor Katie Hobbs vetoed a Republican-backed bill that promised faster results on election night. The governor said afterward that Republicans slipped in a clause affecting early voters.
They weren't serious about fixing an actual problem, but they wanted to use this as a vehicle to make it harder for Arizonans to vote.
Was that ever negotiated?
No, except to say non-starter for me.
Now, the legislation involved a series of trade-offs in order to count ballots faster on election night. A closer look shows the measure was a loser for voters who cast early ballots. In other words, more than 8 out of every 10 Arizona voters. Every 2 years, they would have had to confirm their current address to the county election office, even if they're already on the active early voter list. How does that help count ballots faster? Unclear. Republicans do have a backup plan, sending a similar measure to the 2026 ballot to let voters decide.